Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Lunch and Learn. I hope you all have received your Uber certificates and have taken advantage of this working lunch. I almost call this like a speed dating lunch. It's going to be a brief presentation, about 30 minutes, and an overview of the 501c agency's Labor and Industries Trust Retro Group program. We're going to talk about basic what a retro group is, and then talk specifically about the 501c agency's trust group. I do like to highlight on this intro slide over $19 million in refunds to our members. And of course, as we discuss what the retro group is and what the specifics about our group are, we're going to talk a lot more about how your organization can benefit from some of those dollars as well. But before I go too far, I do want to do just a little bit of housekeeping and a little introduction about our company. First of all, I will be emailing this presentation at the conclusion of the presentation. So it's a PowerPoint slideshow. I will email it hopefully today, if not tomorrow, to each person attending today. Also, if you do have questions, feel free to use the chat box. I know we've all been over Zoomed, and I'm sure you all know the chat box. But if you use that, I might not get to it today, but I will or during this 30-minute presentation, but I will certainly be able to respond to it when I follow up with you with the PowerPoint. So don't hesitate to use that chat box. Just real quick, a little introduction about 501c services. We started in 1982 to help nonprofits who were reimbursing for their unemployment, reduce some of the risk and save them some money. We've grown from about 25 nonprofits at our beginning to now we are serving over 3,000 nonprofits in 34 countries. But the HR or the unemployment and HR services are still the core of our business, and Washington State is actually the state with the second highest number of members for us. So we do a lot of work up there. And in addition to the unemployment services, Washington is very unique in the retro program that we offer there. So it is a program only for our Washington nonprofits. Also, a quick introduction of myself. My name is Heidi Posada, and I started my nonprofit career with the YMCA and then with the American Cancer Society, but I have been with 501c services now for 11 years. And I just go around and do webinars and face-to-face when I can, or mask-to-mask when needed. And I work with nonprofits in helping them look at both their unemployment solutions as well as retro in Washington. Hopefully bringing you new services to help your finance and HR teams, as well as saving you some money by reducing your expenses. So again, first I'm going to start with just an overview of retro and why the heck does Washington State have it? Washington State, as you can see on this slide, is one of only 4 states in America that has state-controlled workers' comp system. And I'm sure you can imagine there's a lot of companies and organizations that weren't happy with the way that was set up. For workplace safety. So first of all, if you are part of a retro group or doing retro on your own, it doesn't necessarily change your premium. You still pay a premium with the state of Washington. You're still assessed the same way, and the workers' comp claims are still handled in the same manner. So I do like to make that clear. Some people get it confused with other kinds of services, but as a retro group, you still are paying the premium. In some cases, it will be reduced if your retro group administrator is helping you, but you are still paying the labor and industries premium, and it's still assessed in the same manner whether you're in a retro group or not. So why join a retro group? What is it? Well, retro, retro is short for Retrospective Rating Group, and it's the only way for employers in Washington State to potentially receive a partial refund on their premiums paid. So it's a very unique way that Washington State said, hey, we're still going to control workers' comp, but we're going to give you an opportunity to get some refunds. Okay, so what is a retro group? So there are some entities there in Washington. I'm thinking Boeing, Amazon, Microsoft. Those are the big three probably in Washington, but some even some bigger hospitals, some industries that have a high volume of employees. Some of them do retro on their own, and you can do that. But for the most part, for organizations smaller than those that I just mentioned, being part of a retro group is the best option. Retro groups, there's many of them. We are the only one that's specific to nonprofits, but the state has probably hundreds of retro groups. Some are done, I know some do them by Chamber of Commerce, some do them by other kinds of industry. But the specific one that we're talking about is you do, for the state to allow you to join, you do have to be a nonprofit. And we carefully examine the organizations that we do choose. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that's so important. But the group is, you basically, the success of the group, keeping claims low, helps get everyone a better return on their premium. So some important factors to consider when choosing a retro program. You might already be in a retro group, or maybe you have never explored this before. But it's really important to look at the performance of the entire group and look at what the average returns have been, look at the total amount refunded. So again, we've refunded over $19 million. And the refunds are based on the entire group's performance. So I'm going to explain this, just making some made up numbers. So our group of nearly 200 nonprofits say that the total premium that group pays in a given year is $1 million. So our group pays $1 million in premium, and say their claims only amounted to $500,000. So L&I is going to have this excess of $500,000. And while they don't refund it all to our group, they do return a portion of it. So we get, say, a $250,000 check, and then we are able to distribute that to our members. And that distribution is based on your performance, as well as what you've paid for your premium for the administrative cost. So what is 501c agencies retro group? We were established in 1991, so right about the time retro groups started popping up. Again, we are the Washington's only retro program for nonprofits. We're serving about 200 agencies right now. And one important thing is we can accept new members starting September 15th. And get you in for the whole year. We are allowed to bring you in at any quarter, but of course, participating in the full year means you have access to the full year's refund. So if this is something you're looking at doing, joining, doing the background, seeing if you qualify, and getting your paperwork to us by September 15th for an effective date of October 1st is ideal. And again, almost 200 members. I do just like to give a shout out to some of our longtime members of the Retro Group. Again, a very small snapshot of the many, many nonprofits. I'm sure some of the nonprofits you all know, but a little snapshot of some of the Washington nonprofits that are benefiting from our Retro Group right now. As a member of the Retro Group, you're not only signed up to get these potential refunds, but we also work with a company called ICM, Integrated Claims Management, and they are based in Lacey, Washington. I know a lot of people are familiar with them, but as a member of the Retro Group, you also get to benefit from their services, and they have a great number of services. But before I introduce those, I do want to give a quick testimonial from one of our happy Retro members, Alan Lesher of the YMCA of the Inland Northwest. They received, since 2010, his YMCA has received almost $130,000 in refunds. And again, also are keeping their premium down because of the services that they're receiving from ICM. So that, I just like to share that little testimonial from Alan. And again, he's like many of our members that in addition to receiving these great services, they're like, oh, the best thing is once a year out of the blue, I get this check. I get this check from 501c services. So it's always a surprise, but as you can tell, since 2010, 130,000. So a good chunk of money to put back towards your mission. So what can ICM do for you? Well, a huge part of it is their claims management. They will work with L&I and any workers' comp claim that you receive. You will have a claims consultant helping you. But another huge part of it is their loss control and safety assistance. They can come and do workplace visits. They can make sure that all of your documentation is up to date. If you do maybe an all-staff meeting and you have a training section, ICM can help you with that. Again, they do site visits or online video conferencing visits. They have monthly classes, and they're a wonderful company to work with. Top-notch individuals that work for them. Wonderful at customer service. So if you are part of our Retro Group and you're using them for your claims management, they're going to try and keep your claims as low as possible. But also with all of the workplace safety that they're providing, they really are helping you not only get these refunds from your premium, they're also helping you reduce your premium. So say your first year you sign up with us and your premium's $20,000. With them, it's likely your premium will go down a couple $1,000s, and in addition to your premium going down, you're getting refunds. So it's even, the savings is even greater than what we're identifying with that $19 million that we've refunded over those years. So the details specifically of our program, there is an administrative fee, and members pay annually 6% of their L&I premium to participate in the group. And with that 6%, you're getting the option to get refunds as well as access to all of the great our refunds through looking at that 6%. So our goal every year is to take that 6%, refund it to everyone, and then based on your individual organization's performance, you are rewarded. So if you say you had a $20,000 premium, you had 0 claims, you're going to get a little bit more of the pie than someone that maybe had higher claims than their premium, or didn't contribute to the refund nearly as much. So that's how we calculate the refunds. We also do take some of the money and put it in a safety net. So there is, as a part of a retro group, there is a little bit of risk that I do want to address, and that is the LNI does have, if our group, say we have $1 million premium and say we have a $1.5 million in claims, LNI can ding us and penalize the group. So what we have done is we've taken a little bit of our refunds each year and created a safety net. So I think and there's a maximum penalty we can get, and I think currently we have enough years to cover 3 years of maximum penalties. So we do have that safety net. Not every retro group does that, but that is something that we really want to make sure our members would never have to pay a penalty for participating in the program. And again, the discounts and experience, this comes from the work. If you're working with ICM, you're getting the claims management. Most of our organizations, you can see an average of 11% discount on premiums. So even though as a retro member, you're still paying you're still paying your premium to LNI, but it's likely that by participating with us, you will reduce your premium. And I've got another quick testimonial from Pete, from the CFO of the United Way of Pierce County. Some of you may know him. He's been a longtime member of the retro group. His United Way also participates in our unemployment program. But he just can't say enough good things about the safety classes and the support that they get from ICM, as well as the refunds. They're not bad either. So I hope I've piqued all of your interest, and you're sitting at your desk eating your sandwich or sipping on your soup, or whatever you ended up ordering for lunch. But I hope you're all saying, well, geez, I want to see if I can qualify. Well, the qualification is quite simple, and I will actually include an authorization form when I do email this PowerPoint to you. So if it's something you want to explore, we can do that quite easily. First thing is, and I think we double check this, but you do have to be a 501c3. You have to be current with your LNI premium. So if for some reason you owe them money, you cannot join a retro group. And then the information that we actually get from LNI is your annual premium has to be $15,000 or higher. And the reason for that, and that's part of our group management, is if it's much lower than that, any small injury can be more than that $15,000 and end up costing the retro group as a whole. So that's, it's always a bummer when someone wants to join and their premium's too low, but we do say at least you're saving money by having a low premium. So that is one of the requirements, and the other is a minimum 2-year loss ratio below 1.0, which means that for the last 2 years you've paid more in your premium than you have in your claims. And I think for obvious reasons, the way I described how the refunds are calculated, it's really important that you that we monitor that for our members. So again, that's what it takes to qualify, but there's also sign up for the year. It renews each year on October 1st. Quarterly entry is allowed, but once enrolled, you do have to complete the retro year. And you also must understand the risks and benefits and keep that ratio below 1.0. So there are times that an organization might suffer a couple of years of losses and be asked to leave the group. And we do try to keep them with ICM, keep working with them so that they can bring it back down below 1.0 and come back to the group. But it is something we do monitor. And, you know, even though you qualified once, if you, for some reason, get sloppy or just have a couple of major injuries within your organization, we do have to ask you to leave the group, which is a bummer. But it really helps the rest of the group members continue to get the refunds that we have as a goal. And one other little piece of information is kept on salary, which we recently started requiring, I think back in 2017. Prior to that, we didn't require it. And if you are interested and you have more questions, we can certainly cover this more in detail. But I do like to be upfront that this is a requirement of participation in the group. And there's a lot of reasons why it benefits not only you as an organization, but the group as a whole. So that is a requirement for participating in our group. And my little speed dating lunch was even quicker than I thought. I hope this was good information for all of you. It looks like I might have not sure if I have any questions, but if you do have any questions, I can certainly answer them. You'll get my email later this afternoon. But here is our contact information. And again, I will be emailing you a copy of this presentation as well as the authorization form. And once you receive that authorization form, if you do want to get or discover if you qualify for our retro group, it's pretty easy to complete that form. It's information that should mostly be at your fingertips. It does take L&I, they've been a little bit backed up, so it can take up to 3 to 4 weeks for us to get the information. And again, the deadline to join is September 15th for an October 1st effective date. So if you are interested, I really suggest we get the ball rolling as soon as possible to give L&I time to get us the information to do the underwriting and give you time to make a decision once you discover if you qualify or not. So that is all for my presentation. Again, my name is Heidi Posada with 501c Agencies Labor and Industries Trust, and I look forward to hopefully having an opportunity to work with all of you in the very near future as you explore this option.